everyone. Welcome to Kodansha panel. We miss you guys, San Diego Comic Con. Hope we're there in person, but this year we're doing it from home. So we're really glad that we can participate as a part of the Comic Con at home. And today we have a special presentation called Kodansha Got Weird Manga. And this time it's a summer edition. We are here to recommend some mangas that you can spend your time during summer to read. Oh, wait, before we get into that too much, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Misaki. I'm your host for this panel today. And go ahead.
I'm Tomo. I'm on the marketing team, and I work with the Vertical imprint as well. So today I'll share some Vertical stuff with you.
Right on.
Yeah, and my name is Ivan Salazar, and I am the Senior Marketing Director over at Kodansha USA Publishing, and I love manga and love talking about it. So, yeah.
Right on. So those are parts of our identity, but sometimes we do other things. Like for the last few months, we have been engaging with the manga fans online nonstop. We have been doing a YouTube show called Kodansha Live on every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. That's 6 p.m. in Eastern time. But this is a YouTube live stream show dedicated to talk about manga with some guests. And we also have something called Kodansha Comics Anime Club, which Ivan runs. So Ivan, do you want to talk about Home Anime Club?
Yeah, happy to talk about it. So every Friday, we basically just do a sort of live watch of 2 episodes of anime. We started off with Glipnir and what was the second one?
Kakushigoto.
Kakushigoto.
Yes.
Kakushigoto, My Dad's Secret Ambition.
That was funny.
Both like we try to mix the genres and like just what people might like to see in anime. We've also done a live watch of Wave Listen to Me, all of which are based on Kodansha comics manga that you can actually read right now. But yeah, we just do a live watch and do some commentary on Twitter. Funimation will usually step in and help out with some funny jokes as well. Take screenshots from what we're watching, and then get people excited about watching the anime, and then hopefully to read the manga as well.
That's super cool. I'm intending to troll on you guys again the next time you guys have an episode. Well, I wanted to mention a little bit that in the YouTube video here, that was actually not manga, but that was from our Vertical's beloved light novel series called Monogatari. So in our live stream, we actually break a news. Since sometimes we miss the panels to do these announcements. So every week we have some new topics to cover, and some of them happens to be brand new announcements. So that's another good reason to check it out. Anyways, if you like what we're talking about today, that's somewhere you can check out more of our stuff. But today, we would like to dedicate our time to talk about some recommendation of the manga that you may want to read during the summer. So the first category is called the best summer reads. And first up is Ivan's pick.
Yeah, okay. So this is a long running but also like completed series. Like it ends at volume 37, but we have some omnibus editions that collect basically several volumes all in one go. It's essentially about a junior high schooler who inadvertently gets involved into a turf war with like these high-tech rollerbladers, storm riders. And all of them, he's a very sort of brash and violent dude, which is partly because he sort of grew up an orphan with a bunch of other orphans who also are very brash and like haughty, and they have a secret double life that he stumbles across. That they are also storm riders, and that's how he gets involved. just by crossing some bad dudes and finding out that, through the help of people that he has grown up with his entire life, he's now learning the new world of storm riding. But yeah, it's about high tech powered rollerblades, rival gangs that sort of battle by racing each other, or doing complicated like moves
Tricks.
through the city. Yeah. And you collect each other's pins as a way to sort of like defeat the different groups.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's got a lot of style. People who love the Bakemonogatari series might find Oh Great's art familiar, because it is the same artist. And also if you've ever read Tenjo Tenge, like it's I believe it's the same artist as well. And yeah, also if there's any classic video game players out there, like this is very reminiscent of like Jet Set Radio.
Oh yeah.
Or Rival Schools or something like that.
Look at their gears even right here.
Yeah. There's a lot of great lettering tricks that Oh Great does.
Yeah.
Almost gives it
right
like
here.
a 3D. Yeah. So I picked it as a summary because it's really long, so you could like get a lot to read.
Spend your whole summer reading.
Yeah, exactly. But also like I don't know, something about the outdoor sports, and the way like there's so much of what you see in the outside world like felt very summery to me. And like I don't know, something about like the freedom of being able to just ride anywhere and almost like fly with these air treks. I thought was really cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, I see it right here in this scene. The girl's doing the trick. There's like a bird flying by.
Yeah.
It was like the sound effects. It looks like almost like graffiti style. Like, I really dig this. I remember this. This was like back in the old days. This was like the hot stuff, and I think it's actually still is. Like who draws like this? Like
Yeah.
So that's definitely strengths of Oh Great. And yeah, as you have mentioned, I wanted to say that his newest work is actually a collaboration with the Monogatari series from Vertical, and he draws the manga version of it. And of course, he draws very sexy characters, even more sexier than what it was before. So
yeah.
I'm just kind of mind blown. I would have checked out Bakemonogatari too. Anything else you want to say about Air Gear?
No, I mean I think it's just got a lot of style and very fun, and I think Icky for being just kind of like a brash kid like has a good heart, and like it's just like he's kind of a product of the people he was raised around, and so they all kind of mirror each other in a very nice like found family way.
Mm-hmm. I kind of miss that kind of character in shonen manga, I guess. Yeah, it's been a while to have good main characters and good friendship around them, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one up is Tomo's pick on best summer reads, Weathering with You.
Weathering with You, yeah. So Ivan, you mentioned brash characters. I think this guy, our main character, is trying to be a strong character, but he's actually a young kid in high school. Some stuff happened at home, and he's running away from his countryside home to the big city of Tokyo, right? And so, but he doesn't really have a plan or anything. He just wants to run away. And as you know, most of the time that doesn't end up well. So he's on the streets, and you see like he's in the rain, and he's kind of getting harassed by people on the streets. He's trying to find some food, and this is where he encounters a girl named Hina who works at a fast food restaurant, and she gives him a burger to eat.
Nice girl.
And she knows, she's like, hey, are you a runaway? Because she can obviously tell because he's kind of roughed up and it's kind of smelly and stuff like that. So but the interesting thing is like, she looks like an ordinary girl, but Hodaka, our main character, he meets her later on and finds out that she has some mysterious powers to change the weather, hence the name Weathering with You. So this is a really beautiful scene where Hina says, hey, watch this, and it's raining, and then she's praying to the sky. It looks like she's praying, and then all of a sudden the sun comes out from the sky, and Hodaka's like, wait a minute, you can change the weather. You're like a weather girl or something. And so this kind of kicks off their kind of adventures and relationship, and we find out more things about Hodaka, why he ran away, and why he came to Tokyo, and then we find more about Hina. Where does she get her powers, and who is she? You know, where are her parents, and so forth. So this is kind of it's fun. You know, it's by Makoto Shinkai, as you know from the breakout movie Your Name.
Right.
And
The Weathering with You is his latest
yes,
movie, correct?
yes.
It's a manga adaptation of his latest movie.
Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, you know, if you know Shinkai, his works are always beautiful,
Mm.
and I always get, you know, there's always a message to his works. I feel like
Yeah.
there's a that you get at the end. So yeah, this is a great. I think it's a great summer read. It's coming out in digital first in the end of June, and then the print version will come out in September. So
Okay.
I
Do
think
you know how long is the series?
series it ends in 3 volumes. So I
Yes.
think it's a good
That's also nice.
yeah.
If you like kind of like a lighter read, then 3 volume series is like a really good length, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's easy to pick up, easy to get into, and yeah, it's a great story. I think that people will enjoy.
All right, fantastic. I'll look forward to read Weathering with You, as well as probably follow up and watch that movie too. I know it's been out, but I haven't got a chance to watch it yet. So yeah, manga and the anime coming soon. All right, so here's my pick for the best summer read is Fire Force. Not only because it's the hottest manga of the summer, perfect for the season, but also the anime is currently going. It's available from Funimation, and it's also available on Crunchyroll as well. The second season is just what really I really wanted to highlight. This is where the story gets very interesting. So like I get really excited about the story arc. Um, there's a lot of like mystery solving aspect about like what this world is about. The some of the in the earlier chapters there was mention about there was a big disaster that hit um during the beginning of like their time. So like we kind of start to go into okay, what exactly happened, like what do you mean by disaster? You start to find out around second season. And also in the second series season, this person becomes a key character. Her name is Inka. She suspiciously looks like another character in this series. I'm not gonna go into it too much because it might become a spoiler. But she's like a ordinary girl, but it seems like she's kicking it with some wrong crowd. She actually is a thief who goes to the scenes of fire where people are like in danger, and she has this ability to see the course of the fire before it happens by the sense of smell. So she identifies herself as the fourth generation, the people with the fire ability, but like the more advanced generation. So she is definitely a tricky person to be around, and of course our fire force's rival, the white crowds, are after her and more so her power. And our hero Shinra and his crew is also after her to make sure that there's no bad influence to goes into her. But the choice is really up to her. Um, just when, yeah, the white crowds got to her, that's also when Shinra gets to her. So what happens, which side she ends up being, it's something you can find out in the second season of the anime, or you can also read ahead of time by reading the manga. So check out Fire Force by Atsushi Okubo. All right. That's the first portion. And I have the second theme for you right here. I think this is kind of relevant to, particularly to San Diego Comic Con crowd. It's the Eisner Awards and nominees and winners. Yes, even though the show is not happening, the award itself is still happening, and we are so happy to say that our manga has been part of this awards for the past several years, as well as this year. We have some very strong nominees and winners that is up on our roster. So start with Ivan. Do you want to cover this year's nomination? I think it's the most important one to talk about.
So we've been nominated for two. We have two books nominated for Eisner. The first one being Witch Hat Atelier by Kamome Shirahama.
Yay!
No, it is a absolutely fantastic book. It is a fantasy world where Coco is just a normal girl who has always loved magic. But in this world, it seems like there are only a very select few people that have the ability to wield magic, and so it's very secretive in terms of how you can do it. But then, because of a chance encounter that she had when she was a girl, she starts on a path to be able to wield magic on her own. And she finds out by sneaking a glance at another magician or witch that anyone can do magic. It's just a matter of the knowledge of what you can do, or the symbols that you can use to create magic. And I think all these screenshots that we're showing is from the first chapter, so there's not a lot of spoilers happening. But A, it's absolutely beautiful, and B, I think that as a story, I think we've all seen different sort of magical stories where it's like you have to be chosen to be able to wield magic, or you have to be a part of a specific group. And I think what Witch Hat does is says that anybody could be a part of the magic if they want to be. And I think even more than that, I think Tomo Shirahama, in the first chapter, because a lot of the magic is very illustration based. I think it's kind of like a metaphor for telling stories through manga and comics. I think that there is a kind of magic there that anyone can discover. And that's why I think it makes sense to me that it was nominated for an Eisner, because I think it's a very important story, sort of wrapped in this magical, magic girl story. But yeah, it's really beautiful. It's the follow-up volumes are very fun, and there's a lot of friendships involved, even if sometimes it's a tenuous friendship. And the stakes never get too scary, which I kind of like. I think it gives a sense that no matter how much these characters are in danger, everything's going to be all right. And I think that's a very comforting story to read right now.
Yeah, that's actually absolutely true. I think this person on the dark page, that's the person who gives her a clue that she could also do magic too. And then in the sequence where she tries the magic for the first time, she's actually literally drawing a magic circle to activate the power of the magic.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is definitely if you're in the realm of comic book industry, I think you kind of have this understand this magic instantaneously, I think.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I look for them because I really like Witch Hat Atelier. But we cannot forget about the other candidates that we have.
The other nominee, also Magic, and also Magic Girls, Magic Knight Rare.
This takes me back, man.
Yeah, we're nominated for the 25th anniversary edition.
Wow.
And there's a special box set which you can get that has lovely hardcover editions plus a nice slipcase.
Nice.
But you could also read the individual volumes digitally. There's 3 volumes out for this story, so it's a very concise story if you're looking for something.
That's nice too.
Yeah. And it's this is done by Clamp, so if you're familiar, there are several Clamp works that you might be familiar with. On top of Magic Knight Rare, there's also things like X, There's a
Yikes.
Tsubasa Chronicles.
Right.
There's a Cardcaptor Sakura, which currently has the anime brought back like on Netflix and
Totally reviving.
Funimation. Yeah. And you know, I think that this is one of the sort of earliest and greatest examples of like Clamp's power. Like, you know,
Yes,
the
full on right
yeah,
here. The
exactly.
flower in the hair. And
Yeah, yeah, it's all like incredibly beautiful, and I think makes use of all the trappings of like the shoujo style. So you have like lots of cool elements in the background.
yeah. I
Very
remember these characters
characters.
too.
Yeah,
I'm quite fond of them.
yeah,
So and the illustration styles like has that classic shoujo styles, but also like there's something very stylish about this series. I don't know, maybe it's like very focused on like the relationship and friendship between the three girls too, who are totally different.
mhm.
And then they are empowered with like special powers also.
Yeah, yeah, and I think the story is as much about friendship as it is about the adventure. And
Mhm.
what's crazy is that like you know these three girls are complete strangers when the story starts,
Right.
and then just immediately become friends.
Like,
Which I think is like it's a very cute story about you
mhm.
know who you find that becomes part of your group,
Yeah.
and the things that you go through together. So I think that because of how strong the storytelling is and the art
Dang.
style, and like you know, I think that's why it was sort of like looked at as a nominee for this year.
That's fantastic that like a series from the past is getting a new recognition at this time and age too. So yeah, like a lot of Clamp series are coming up from Kodansha Comics. Like we have actually becoming like a new home of Clamp series. So I'm very glad to see the Magic Knight Rare as part of our family too. Right on. So those are this year's nominations. So if you still haven't voted, well, actually, by the time you see this, we would have pretty much know who's going to win. But I'll be crossing fingers.
Yeah, crossing fingers.
Okay. Tomo, I know that there's like some past nominations and winners from verticals too. So I wanted to ask you to talk about that.
Yeah, definitely. I know we're talking about classical manga right now, so we can take it, you know, way back to Osamu Tezuka, as
This is the
we
classic.
the classic, as we all know him, you know, one of the godfathers
Oh,
of manga. So this is his take on the Siddhartha Buddha story in manga form, and yeah, this was a winner way back, and the cover art, the art design was by Chip Kidd.
oh, okay,
As you
okay.
know, yeah, one of the he's a
Beautiful.
well-renowned cover designer, and when you put the books together on the hardcovers, it makes the picture of the characters, it lines up. So it was really cool.
Oh,
I think that
on
was
the
one of the reasons.
spines. That's
Yeah,
right.
on the spines. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, this one was one of the winners. So would definitely check it out. And then there's another title that a Tezuka title that Verticals won as well. It's Dororo.
Oh,
And this is about it's just about a warrior who was born without eyes and ears and legs and arms,
no, interesting.
and then um and then he goes on this journey to fight the demon to have his body parts essentially. And every time he defeats a demon, he gets one of his body parts back. And then this is kind of his story of you know, to redeem himself and face the ultimate, bad guy. And so
Wow.
yeah, this was also nominated as well. The cover designer is Peter Mendelsohn,
Mm,
uh, who's
this is really cool.
known. Yeah, he still does our covers for Monogatari series, and we still work with him.
Oh, same
This is
guy.
yeah. So um, I just wanted to shout out these two Tezuka titles because I know these are classics. People love it. Dororo, recently got a reboot anime, and people really loved it. And I know people picked this manga up because of the reboot as well. So
Yeah, more people should be reading Tezuka stuff. Like he
yes,
kind of established the whole manga style. Like the history of manga started with
Yeah,
Tezuka,
definitely.
basically. So, but it's like his work holds up really good in modern time too.
Yeah.
I recently read the Buddha series, and it just really blew my mind. So, yeah, I highly recommend this to pretty much anybody of any age. It's if you want to read an epic, this is the one to go to. And you had another recommendation
Yeah, I
in this
just,
category.
as we mentioned Tezuka, and then this author actually was really influenced by Tezuka, Yoshitoki Oima. And
Yeah.
the author also won a Osamu Tezuka Cultural Award with this title, A Silent Voice. And so there's a connection there. And this one won a couple years back. The Silent Voice won a couple years back. I know this story. It centers around Shoya, the male protagonist, and Shoko, the female protagonist, who and then Shoya is like your typical teenage boy. He's wild and does like whatever he wants to do, and he's a troublemaker in a sense, right? And he's carefree, whatever. And then later on, he meets Shoko, and he kind of changes his world. It changes his world because she's she's deaf, and she is just transferred to his school, and Shoya has never seen anyone like her before, right? And she introduces herself. She says, "I can't hear," and so this is like a super shock to Shoya, right? He's never like and like exactly this.
He encounters space,
and like an alien, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And so he doesn't really know how to deal with that, right? As any teenager, dealing with something new or someone different from them. This story, it really touches on about bullying, and also just embracing differences. And as I was reading it, it really for me pulled a lot of strings for me, like just emotionally, because bullying is at a lot of it happens a lot in schools, and I think many people have experienced bullying. So I think this is a great story about coping with bullying. And I know later on Shoya, he was once the bully, and then he was bullied back by his classmates. So this is kind of a story where he struggles to redeem himself, and also to understand Shoko and her struggles as well.
That's really kind of interesting about this series, is that it's focused on like a redemption from somebody was once like a child, but by maturing he's trying to make up for what he did wrong. He learns like how to communicate through sign language while there was time apart with each other. And if you pay attention, there's definitely bullying and stuff happens, but if you really pay attention to the series, there's no absolute bad guy per se. Like everybody could make up for it in one way or another. Yeah, they might have like a not so golden moment, but at the same time they come through and kind of make up for it within the course of the series. So it's very hopeful in that kind of sense. And it's well executed series within like 11 volume or so.
I agree. And the box set is out, so if you you can invest in the box and read it the whole summer. It comes with some neat extras in there too. So
that's really cool. Right on. We also have one more series by the same creator.
Yeah, To Your Eternity. As you said, same creator, Yoshitoki Oima. This is her latest series. I know Misaki, you've dived into this. Also, Ivan, you guys have dived into it. If you want to touch on it.
Yeah. I remember like I had an interview with her when she was just finishing up A Silent Voice, and she was mentioning that she has an idea for the new series that is very influenced by Tezuka. So I was kind of like wondering what she meant by that. And then when I saw this first chapter, I was like, this is what she's talking about. Her artwork is just off the chain right here. Like she even, her art in Silent Voice was really cool. But this time it's like a fantasy series, so she even goes more all out. And it starts out this crazy scene of this like orb. I was like, where is this? What is this? And then the orb touches the rock, and then it turns into a rock, and then it also turns into a moss, and then it turns into a wolf that just passed away. So the orb takes over the body of the wolf, and the wolf has some memories of when it was alive. So it goes back naturally to where considered as a home, and meets this boy who lives in like a very like almost deserted village by himself, waiting for everybody to come back from a journey to find more people. But he has been by himself for 5 years by himself, and how lonely that is. He had his wolf homie to keep him in company. But this is a little bit of spoiler alert, but it's still from chapter 1. The boy goes through some hardship and eventually passes away. Shockingly, in the first episode, I was like, "Wait, the main character dies in the first episode."
Yeah.
But again, the orb spirit actually takes over the boy's body and becomes a separate entity, and it walks away from its own body. I was like, oh my god. It, there's a scene, something similar to this in Tezuka's Buddha, like the first story, one of the first volumes, that there's like a spirit that is moving from one body to another. So like I don't particularly know like if reincarnation is real or not, but then if it really is and visualize, I imagine it to be something like this. So it's a really deep comic that I really like following through. Um, it's coming down to climax right now, but it's still it's ongoing. Simul chapters are available in Comixology and Crunchyroll. So if you are interested in it, oh, and the anime is coming this in fall of 2020, I believe. To Your Eternity anime is coming. So if you're a diehard fan of the series, please look forward to it and support it too.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how that anime is going to be. And like, I think with any time that a new anime shows up, it sparks people to look at the manga. And I think that this is definitely a manga that I think people should get into. Like, if anything, I challenge people to just read the first chapter.
Yeah.
And how you feel about it after that, because like it really was one of those series that like I picked it up on a whim and you didn't even connect that this was the same creator as A Silent Voice. But once I got through that first chapter, like I was like, I don't care what the rest of the series is about. I'm in, because I think it is like you're saying, it is a bit shocking that the main character, the person that you see on the cover, ends up like dying in the first chapter. But like that's the thing, and I think the way that is handled, it's like you don't expect to feel so much for a character that you get introduced to in a couple pages, and then so I felt very confident that whatever happened with any of the people we met, we were gonna feel a lot for.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I wanted to keep reading, because on top of being like having absolutely beautiful visuals, like I knew that I was going to feel a lot of things for this world, or for the trials that these characters are going through, and so I wanted to sort of follow along on that story.
Yes.
And I think you're right, like with the fantasy setting, Oima Sensei is just like completely doing whatever she wants.
She blew up, right?
Yeah, because I think like when you deal with genre, is that you can break the rules of the regular world to really do amazing things, and I think you can do that even more so in art. And so Oima Sensei is just making full use of how much she can like stretch for the series.
Right on. So Yoshitoki Oima is definitely one of the names to be paying attention to. There's another name I think you all should be paying attention to, particularly in the like in the sense that it's an award-winning creator, and that is Akiko Higashimura. She is so great. She's one of my favorite shoujo manga artists. She is funny, and her art style is very catchy. And not only that, the subject matter she touches is very it's kind of a play on the tropes of shoujo manga, I would say. So the first one, Princess Jellyfish, this was a nomination in 2016, I believe. And this one is focused on this girl Tsukimi. She's definitely like an underdog. Like she's like a geeky, like otaku girl who's like not like super fashionable here. She's like feeling uncomfortable in like a fashionable part of the Tokyo. And she comes home to her roommates who are all different kind of nerds. Some of them are into like Japanese dolls. Some of them are into like the story of the Three Kingdom, trains, and so forth. They all have different nerddoms, right? And the main girl, her thing is jellyfish. She just loves jellyfish. That's her nerddom. And then, so she goes to on the nightly stroll, she goes to check out the jellyfish at the nearby pet store, and she finds out one of them was put into the same tank as a one that could possibly kill it. So she's like freaking out here. This is what's going on in her mind. Clara, like, so she kind of stands up for her and try to talk to this like male pet store worker. Then she's like feeling very awkward about it in her pajama sweats. And just in time though, this like beautiful person like walks up, and she's so confident with just the way like she's standing, and like she negotiates with the pet store owner. Well, if this jellyfish is going to die just by being in this tank, then why don't you just like why don't you take it? And then so she suggests to Tsukimi to take it with her. So long story short, they become friends. From this incident, Tsukimi lets her stay at her home. But the next day, she finds out that the girl was actually a boy, who was like dressed very beautifully in drag. And he's quite a different kind of male character from like anybody you see in like shoujo manga. He's like very confident, like feminist, and he's also kind of comfortable with his gender switch kind of between like dressing as a boy and dressing as a girl. So he started to come around to this dormitory with a bunch of nerdy girls and starts to give them makeovers in different circumstances. Here's Tsukimi like transforming, and here's her roommates too, like looking like completely different here. And yeah, all of them gets a makeover in the course of stories. And it's not just the transformation of the appearance, but like the feelings and relationship to each other also transform throughout the series. So exactly how you want to possibly find out by reading the manga. This one is also a completed series, so you can read the whole series by itself. There's a box set available too. So check out Princess Jellyfish. And her Higashima Sensei's follow-up series is called Tokyo Tarareba Girls, and this was also up for the Eisners in 2018, I want to say. So Tokyo Tarareba Girls is for a little bit older audience. It's about 30-some years old lady in Tokyo who has a career, who has like her own thing going on, but she's single and she wants to get married before the Tokyo Olympics happen in 2020. which is 6 years from when this story is set in place. Like, I don't want to be alone by that time, basically. So she's talking to her homegirls. This is like a girl talk in a bar, and like she's like, I mean, I'm talking to this guy who like I'm not too into. He's like, but has all the right character to be like a marriage material, and like, but only if this was better. So like that Tokyo Tarareba means like Tarareba. It's like only if like that it was something. So it's kind of like a story of like dream chaser girls. And this is like her Tara and Never Food talking to her that they're threatening her that she's gonna die alone. That's like her biggest fear. Maybe not funny. And then so she goes on a date with the guy she was talking about, that he's okay, marriage material, and going on a romantic dinner, and things seems to be going right. And he mentioned that he wanted to talk to her about something. So he's like, what is it that you wanted to talk about? He brings out this like special box, and like, yeah, please go ahead and tell me what you're thinking about. And he goes like, I was thinking about like asking your assistant Mimi-chan to be intentional one day get married. And then like a lightning bolt comes down and blow out the whole scene. Next moment, she's back in the bar drinking with her friends. She's like has lost her mind completely. Like, this is not how she was intending this day to end. Like, this is pretty brutal. Like, talking like a lot of ranting is happening, and this like one guy who was in the bar just kind of like say something like, just just go ahead and just keep feeling sorry for yourself if that makes you feel any better. And he calls them the what if woman. So like, always chasing after the what ifs. It's not really the way to go. And the meeting of this person really changes the character's outlook on relationships. And then eventually they started to be in relationship with each other. So exactly how, from this really random encounter in the bar, you're about to find out by reading Tokyo Taraba Girls. Crazy, almost too realistic of a story maybe, but it's really funny, I guarantee you that. Yeah, so that is the last of the recommendations that we have today. Just wanted to remind you that like we have all of our current releases on as a print book, but it's also available on digital platforms. So if you want to, like, if you heard about manga that you want to hear, you heard, and then you just want to read it today, then you can just go to either like Comixology or Kindle, Crunchyroll, Bookwalker, Nook, Kobo, iBooks, Google Play, and we also on Isneo. So there's many choices of place where you can start your own collection of manga in digital form, and yeah, that's a good way to read a lot of our mangas. So that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tomo and Ivan, for joining our panel too, and everybody who's watching this show. Please visit us at kodanshacomics.com, as well as you can follow us on social media and the newsletter to stay up to date about everything related to Kodansha. So that's it. I hope to see you soon, and maybe hopefully in person. Like I said, I miss being at the convention, so hopefully we can come back to be gathering and talking about manga again too. So thank you very much, and have a good day.
Thanks, everybody. Good reading.
Good reading.
Next time.
Great.